Please let me know if this makes sense. I was on a run today, and I was going down the path, and there was a fork in the path, and I chose to go left. And as I just started going left, in my mind, I was like, all right, your fate has been decided. I was thinking anything that could have happened if you chose to go right, is now gone. But then, this is silly, by the way. But I think it's something. It's a exercise in the mind. As I was running, I was like, well, you could still, at some point, take a path that goes right and maybe connect to the path to the right. I was like, or you could, at some point, just turn around, if you really want, go back to that fork and then turn right. And then the thought, and I put this in my daily or whatever thoughts that I've mentioned before, the thought was, only time goes forward. Because I was thinking, well, if you chose to go left and you start going, then you turn around, at that point you're going backwards, right? Going backwards, and I'll put that in quotations. But then I was thinking, well, really, you're just always, are you always going forward? Are you technically, even if you're going forward towards something, are you really going forward in the big scheme of life? Are you moving towards the destination? Technically, I guess you're moving forward, but you could be moving backwards. Because you might be moving forward making the wrong choices, right? If the goal is a good, positive destination, and I chose to go left, and I'm running down that path thinking that that is the right path, I might actually be going backwards. I'm not going forward. And perhaps by turning around and backtracking, that's going forward. So I thought, only time is the only thing that moves forward. It's happening. You can't stop it. You can't move backwards. It just always moves forward. Whether or not you are moving forward, it's pretty tough to tell. And I don't think that I suppose another thought that I had is if you choose to go left, that doesn't mean your fate has been decided. Because I've said before that I think life is while it's happening, is a potentially infinite amount of paths, but when it's done, it's just one, right? It is the way, it is the path. And it's not as if when you make a decision, anything that happened to the right is shut off or over. Because realistically, it's just that every second by second is life. Because you could go left, backtrack, and then go back on the right path. But if that's not the same, if that's option A, I turn left down the path, I stop, I backtrack, and then I go right down the path. That's option A. That's not the same as B if I had initially turned down the path. Butterfly effect. It's just not the same. And there's nothing wrong with backtracking. It's okay to backtrack. The best thing, if you went down the path, and 5 minutes ago I made that decision, it seemed like the right decision, and about 5 minutes down this path I'm recognizing this isn't the way, this isn't the right one for me. Doesn't it make more sense to acknowledge that in that moment and stop and turn around than to just have pride and ego? I have to keep going because I made that choice. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Doesn't even mean that 5 minutes down the path that when I turn left, it might look bad, but that doesn't mean the end destination's bad. And I don't even know if there's a point to any of this. But this is, I turned left on a path, and this is where my brain was going of well, only time moves forward. I guess some thoughts to think about, because that's the podcast. Am I moving forward? Do I think I'm moving forward, but I'm really getting further away? Is it okay to backtrack? When is it appropriate to backtrack? Because I think it's okay. I think it comes back to make the decision that makes the most sense to you, that makes the most sense in the moment. And from moment to moment, we follow the way. Something to think about.